Hi there, that's right, it's the great and glorious, soon to be famous one, Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time for another delightful tarot show. Got my Book of Thoth tarot ready and waiting. We've got a few questions lined up, so we're going to crack straight on with those. But very quickly, someone has asked me how can they actually request a reading to appear in the weekly tarot show. Quite frankly, send me a private message. Okay, this is mainly being broadcast on the YouTube channel called Nick Dutch Tarot. If you go to that channel page, you'll find that there's a button which you can click, or a link which you can click so you can send me a private message. Just include in the private message, your name, your date of birth, and a brief outline of the situation and your question. I'll be happy to add you to the rota. Okay, I am getting quite a few requests these days, and that's pretty cool. But a few more added to the rota will always be wonderful. Okay, there are certain questions I don't feel comfortable with, such as dealing with pregnancy, medical matters, childbirth, that sort of thing. But more or less anything is okay within certain limits. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on with the first reading of today, and we'll see where it can take us. Here we go. Okay, Nina19C has put back and asked a few key questions. She said that the whole year has turned, she's still got a few debt problems and all the rest of that, and wants to make sure that things are going to work out okay in terms of other areas of life. So all we can do is see what the tarot says. Okay, so let's have a quick look. Now, my job here is just to tell you what I can see. That's basically all I can do. Your job is to carry on taking responsibility for your life. Okay. Now, if you've got a debt problem, why not actually have a chat with an insolvency practitioner? Why not have a look at a few websites about insolvency and consider the possibility of going bankrupt and finding different creative ways of managing the situation? Alright, these are hard times for us all. Most people are earning a lot less money than they were, so just bear that option in mind. But either way, I've been shuffling like crazy. We'll just see what kind of things is coming through. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, well, this is actually panning out very nicely indeed. We got a very good order of the cards there. We've got some very good messages coming through. Your very short-term future there, dominated predominantly by the Five of Cups. It was reversed, but it was still there, and it's primarily talking about a sense of something negative, or a negative emotion about you, a feeling of thinking that by this time of life maybe you should have achieved an awful lot more, a bit of a sense of disappointment. It being reversed is suggesting that's going to start ebbing away. I don't quite know what it is that's going to bring this change towards the positive, this optimistic feeling into your life, but it looks like it's going to be quite dramatic, because we're moving from that to signs of something positive but a bit too much of it. So I feel that's merely an expression of the transition. You're not used to receiving good things. You're used to being in a position of difficulty in terms of emotions, in terms of finance, in terms of a wide variety of other different things. So essentially your short-term future signs is already talking about some progression. Now, some of it you got to look for yourself. I mean, just because I've said there's good stuff there doesn't mean to say that it's suddenly going to appear for you. Okay, still got to carry on using your own willpower. Now, your mid-term future signs there are absolutely splendid. We got the Sun card there, which is actually quite happy. So that's maybe by the spring of next year, things are starting to look more rosy. So that would imply or suggest a new opportunity, probably to do with work front. Okay, because essentially the solar signs can often be associated with money, but there's also a very strong loving message associated with that too. So essentially on that side of things, again, by the spring there'll be even more improvement for you. Okay, and I'm stressing the point of even more improvement, because I feel there is some good stuff around you at the moment. It's just you can't always recognize it. Okay, so bear that in mind and think about where things could be going in the longer term future. And your long term future signs per se are actually talking about a great deal of financial stability, and it's actually portraying you as someone who is an authoritative figure, someone who's in control, someone who has power. So as far as your career development later on down the line, especially with more coin signs, it's in fact looking very positive for you indeed. Okay, Blue Jimba is inquiring about a particular individual who's very close to Blue Jimba. We'll just see basically what's coming through, and there's a possibility of will moving happen, and will there be a way of doing things. Okay, well, let's just have a quick look. So essentially we're looking out for signs relating to enablement. Okay, not entitlement, but enablement, namely being able to actually move from one particular state to another. There's obviously some good vibes going on there, and you want to make sure that the final result will be crystallized the way that you want. So let's just have a quick peek and see what the tarot says for you there. Okay, brilliant. Okay, signs of planning and preparation. I think that's what you're going through at the moment. So carry on doing your planning and preparation. more research is needed, I suppose, is the main message of the Six of Swords there, which is predominantly talking about contemplation, trying to think like a scientist and trying to apply that to your life situations. We got a lot of signs of passion and drive. It feels like there's something associated with this individual that you're close to. Hasn't not only worked out according to plan, but has in fact had some kind of negative associations with it. I mean, generally speaking, this card has a feeling of willpower associated with it. You want to try and make things move further on forward, and actually to have a much more successful, happier connection between yourself and this other individual with the passage of time. Now, we were looking out for signs relating to enablement, and we got the very spiritual signs there coming out in the Eon card, which is predominantly talking about something of a spiritual nature or a spiritual era appearing for you. So the connection between yourself and this other individual, on whatever level it might be, is going to start to turn into something a little more advanced, okay, a little more intellectually driven, and something which is actually going to be really rather positive. So the impressions there are plan and preparation, carry on applying your willpower, realise that there is a new chapter in your life emerging, but it still has to get there. I feel that circumstances are a bit harder for you than they are for many other people. Just try and, don't be frivolous, keep focused, and that's essentially pretty good and pretty strong. Again, we have the Prudence card coming out there, the Eight of Coins, and we've got the Ace of Wands as well. We're having fire signs coming out a couple of times in your reading is suggesting that you've been going through a very long period of struggle. And also you've been trying to know when is the right time to be cautious and when isn't the right time to be cautious. And I feel that for yourself, trying to get the balance right was really rather difficult. But again, don't be concerned, because my impression on the overall side of things is that there is going to be some variety of progress happening here. So you are doing the next right thing, and I feel that this move by vehicle that you're talking about appears to be happening for you, not immediately, but it's definitely going to be in the early part of the new year. Okay, Baby Cake Sweet as Sin has popped back yet again. I wants me to have a look at home life as well as working life. Okay, we'll see basically what's coming through. Thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, all that kind of jazz. Alright, here we go, shuffling like mad and just see what comes through. Obviously we're coming up to Christmas and New Year, so people are trying to get their Christmas and New Year reading requests in right now. A very busy time of year for me, this is. Okay. Right. Bit of a turnaround, bit of a turn up for the books as well. It appears to me that there's some individuals who you assume will always behave bad, will sort of start growing up and becoming more human. And that's actually looking pretty good if we take into account the entire message of the reading. Now, the main thing which is coming through here is your communication signs, okay? We've got signs of moral virtue. You're trying to do everything right, okay? You don't fall short of the mark. You keep your morality quite forefront in your mind, which I think is very important. But there's also a sense of conflict there. Do you ever find that there's times when you really want to, act out of resentment, shall we say? Because we do have some signs referring to resentment here, as well as a feeling of failure. Now, the Queen of Swords is quite a notorious card, actually. She's depicted as a half-naked woman with the decapitated head of a man in one hand and a sword in the other. This is not a depiction of yourself. This is a depiction of some of the energies around you, and your job here is essentially to carry on fighting against it, despite the fact it might seem really rather futile. As far as your home life is concerned, I think it's going to be pretty damn good as far as domestic bliss is concerned, because I think that, taking into account the question, the arrangements of the other cards, and all the colours that are coming through, I feel it's talking very much about domestic bliss and making sure that you're actually going to be in a happy, strong, stable situation when the rest of the future comes. So are you going to be happy on that side of things? Yes. Let's have a quick peek at your career. I mean, it could be that sort of negative female energy was in fact associated with your work. Is there an unpleasant female character in your immediate working environment who you're struggling with at the moment? Maybe it's a territory issue, I don't know. But that's the way I feel it. Bit of a feeling of promotion now. You might wonder why the Lovers card actually comes out. There you go. Hopefully you can see it there. Why that would come out in a career reading. Well, the message of the Lovers card is not necessarily to do with love. It's talking about more responsibility. It's talking about more progress and feeling that you've moved to a level or a position in which you're capable of being in charge. Okay, it's ultimate level of maturity occurring within the working life associated with yourself. great feelings of maturity and interconnectivity going on there. You will become a very skilled networker, and you'll be able to deal with people on a much deeper level, and to be able to enjoy the connections that you start to develop and profit from them. We got signs of a real quantity of pleasure there, a great feeling of satisfaction at the end there. You've got a lot of good things coming your way. To get to the end goal, one day at a time, as is traditional, but on the other hand, there's something about you. There really is something about you which has the power to inspire others, and as a result of that, I think that you're someone who's destined to bring a lot of light into other people's lives. Okay, Celtic Warriorist has come on with a few questions for me. First one, the all-important question: during a bad time, during a recession, will you get a job soon? Well, let's have a quick look. It is very hard out there. So basically, no matter what I say, literally no matter what I say, just work very hard at getting your resume out the door, your CV out the door, because essentially that's what's required. The competition you're up against is very steep. Go onto a few websites and a few blogs and study about how to write a really, really, really good CV or resume, okay? And also see how far you can take it. I mean, the energy that I've got associated with this is fascinating. I mean, the feelings I've got for you were good anyway. And I shuffled the deck very thoroughly. And you asked whether you're going to be getting a job soon. Well, we got signs of great financial wealth there for you. So what could that be talking about? Surely the next job you're going to get is not going to be the perfect one. No, it isn't. But it is going to be a very important aspect of the experience you're going to get moving further forward into the future. Alright? Again, signs of abundance, signs of joy, a sense of feelings, really full of yourself because you've got all your bases covered. That's what's happening for you in the future. But you only get this, you only get the valor, the bragging rights, if you've been through a conflict. Okay? You can only reap the rewards of a battle through having gone through a battle. Now you're at that battle now. Your YouTube channel name is Celtic Warriorist. Think about that warrior energy and what it really means for you, and use that to try and drive yourself further forward. That would be the best advice I can give you. And of course, work very hard on your CV or resume. Alright, we got one monster girl. No, we don't just happen to have a girl who's a monster. Okay, that's the YouTube channel name. Just wanted to sort of get that nice and clear for you in case you thought that I've got this covered with. Never mind. Anyway, one monster girl wants to know basically what's going to happen in the future. Wants me to look relatively generally. So we'll see what we can see, shall we? I think I will move this on to a Celtic Cross style of reading. We'll see what happens. Take it from there. Okay. Well, subconsciously, I think you're concerned about your longer-term future, your success and your progress, and to basically make sure things can work out on that side of things. It's a good thing to be concerned about, and a bit of worry and a bit of anxiety, if it's in context, can actually work out okay for you. But you're also a very loving and very nurturing type individual, and that can be both good and bad. Good in the right context, bad in the wrong context. And I get this feeling that you sometimes find it difficult to get it right. Okay, sometimes you're a bit too loving and compassionate when you really need to be defensive and aggressive. If you get my drift, the balance has got to be struck there. But I think you understand that emotions are like a form of communication in their own right, and you need to learn to use the right one when trying to build your life the way that you want other people to see it, if you get my drift there, okay? You haven't had a very easy life. There's plenty of signs of, well, emotional negativity, cruelty, a feeling of difficulty associated with other individuals who've been involved in your life, and really sort of having to push against the grain to get the result that you're after. So I would try and see that as being like a reserve of knowledge, reserve of wisdom, basically, rather than anything out and out negative, okay? And try and see yourself from this point of view onwards, trying to get the emotional balance right and moving further forward. The signs about your character and your nature: you're someone who's going to have an awful lot of friends in the future. There's something really rather good and really rather positive about the way in which you actually integrate and interact with people, which I think is a very important thing for me to be mentioning here. As far as your longer term financial future is concerned, well, I'm sensing something of the creative about you, maybe a singer, maybe a dancer or an actress, or something along those lines is basically what you might be after later on down the line. Feelings there, very good, very interesting, but it's not just going to be a question of just one career. Okay, I think you're going to choose a fair few before you finally settle down and start doing basically what's right. I've got some very good signs in the future for you. The lightning struck tower. Alright, I mean obviously I said good signs and I've suddenly said turned around to you and said lightning struck tower, which obviously doesn't sound very positive. But it can speak of a bolt from the blue. It can speak of something sudden and something beautiful which has a very positive impact upon your life and the way that you will want to take it. So you're going to use your creativity and actually sort of, as it were, start to get inspiration as to where you want to take your life. Now, the progression, short-term, mid-term and long-term future. Still a bit of a struggle in the very short term, within the next 3 months, shall we say. Moving on from there, we've got a bit of a childlike state of joy for you as well. So that's another thing which makes me feel sure that you've got some kind of creative future, not necessarily a run-of-the-mill future. But don't just ignore the run-of-the-mill side of things. Everyone needs their stability, basically, to fall back on so that they can keep themselves going when times are hard. And I think that you can do it, alright? So that's a brief overview there for you. I'll quickly point out that the sun signs there can also be a reference to love for you. So there's all kinds of things for you to look forward to as well. Okay? Okay, 0709 Magic has got an inquiry about a relationship. And this is someone who's going through some problems with their partner. The individual that the inquirer, the client inquirer wants me to focus in on has got a bit angry or a bit frustrated. So I'm going to have a quick look and try and work out a few things about that, and then we'll see basically where the rest of the reading takes us. So let's have a look. Okay, he wants to get something out of you. I don't think he wants to be controlling, but he wants to get something out of you. The sensation there is that there's some things that he wants to have in the relationship which he's not very good at explaining or dealing with in any way whatsoever. So he's a very confused, frustrated individual at the best. And in this particular case, he does love you a lot, but he's in this like split-minded state between wanting his desires and his needs met and also wanting to basically be loving and compassionate towards you. So the feelings are interesting and intriguing in many different ways. He's a very confused individual. And basically he needs someone to talk to, but I don't think that you should be the individual who should be his therapist. Now, that's the way things are at the moment. On your side of things, you're finding it a bit of a burden and you're looking out for a better future. So you want there to be new beginnings. I don't think you want to lose him, but I think he's being a real, how do people say, a real jerk-off right now. So on your side of things, you're now in a split mind. Okay, you've fallen in love with him, you've got that connection there, but he's being unpleasant or undesirable. Let's have a quick look at the future, okay? Alright. Very long-term future, very desirable. Because a sense of cooperation, working together to overcome some kind of problem, trying to make the alchemical gold out of nothing. But that's in a very long-term future, that's not in the next 24 hours. The very short term, it's still going to be a bit sad and a bit difficult. And medium term, there's a sense of things getting back on track, but the emotions aren't quite right. So that's got to progress still further. Basically, it's yet another foundation building opportunity, and try and see this as being an opportunity to make the relationship stronger, not to drive it further, further downhill. And yeah, this is just a reference to the fact that you've got more power and control in this relationship than you previously thought possible. And I think that's something that you've got to remember and also to realize, because you are a strong animal here. And you don't have to put your foot down aggressively. Alright, you don't have to suddenly say, yeah, I want this my way, okay? We all want to do that. We all want like some kind of justice, or to have that thrill of hitting someone who you don't like, or whatever it is. But that's not the way that mature grown-ups deal with things. We have to be able to say, well, there's some things that I have an issue with, there's some things that you have an issue with. Can we just try and get to the roots of this, and try and work out a way forward which will best solve both of our needs. And we'll have to strike up some compromises and do a bit of accepting. And from that, then we can start moving our lives further forward. Now, would that be a good idea? That's just my take on things, okay? taking into account what I can see, what I can feel, and what I think. You know, you can take it or leave it. It's up to you. Okay, we got Waime Kalim, who's inquiring about her relationship connection. There's someone who Waime Kalim hasn't heard of for a long time and wants to make sure that this individual will be coming back into her life. Alright, well, let's just have a quick peek for you. Bear with me a second, please. Okay, it's not looking very good. It's not looking very good at the moment. I think you might have to, at some point, make a really adult decision about this, okay? And I think I already know what that could be. Now, as far as the energies and the forces between you is concerned, there's still some allusion there to being some communication, but it's not really fully formed or fully blown and grown. This is an individual who needs an awful lot of healing and a sense of repair work and trying to make themselves better. There's also a feeling of destruction associated with them. Those red colours just tend to jar with all the rest of the spread. It doesn't feel very comfortable to me. But on your side of the reading there, it looks like you're feeling disappointed. It looks like you're feeling controlled, and I feel that you want this individual back in your life. But you're also having second thoughts. I think those second thoughts are quite good for you, actually, right now. So we'll just have a quick look at the short-term, mid-term and long-term future. Yeah, okay. We've got communication signs coming through at two different junctures. We do have some signs of passion there, so it's not all lost. But I don't see all that much in the way of loving signs. I mean, this is a relationship reading. We should actually have some signs relating to, or some feelings relating to a very strong love bond. I feel there's an awful lot coming from you to him. You've got a great deal of love towards this other individual. But, how about the other way? Is it really going that way? And should I really be the one to answer that one for you? Because I think you already know. Okay, Jasmine J3 is in a very complex situation. She's in a relationship with someone she doesn't trust. The first thing I would say is, if you don't trust them, think about why you don't trust them, and think about the evidence you've got to support that. I mean, the actual evidence. Alright? And see whether that's actually going to be beneficial. I'm happy to do my reading for you, but essentially my main message there is, think carefully about the information that you get there. Sorry, my cat wants to come in. Come and say hello then, Ifley. Let's see if we can invite the cat in to join us in the show. Come on, Ifley. Are you going to come and say hello? Let's see if the cat's going to be friendly and say hello for us. Oh, I swear this cat gets bigger and bigger every single time I pick him up. He's had a little issue with his eye recently, but you know, that's all sorted out. Didn't like going to the vet at all, and so I've had to spend a couple of days trying to teach him that, you know, we really are friends again. And so I'm showing him to you so that you know that he's my friend, and that he knows that he's my friend as well. Very sensitive creatures, cats. Very intelligent. Well, at least this one is. He's much more perceptive than the average human being, I can tell you that for nothing. And he had to come right in the middle of filming now, didn't he? Okay, well, back to the reading. Now, the progression that I've got there for you, short-term, mid-term and long-term future. Well, your frustration with him is very strong. Because we got the Queen of Swords there, we got the Devil card there. They're not necessarily the most happy combination. And as such, it'll be worthwhile just doubting some aspects of the relationship. And of course, thinking about where you want to take this in the longer term future. I should not be the one who turns around to you and says, you must leave him or you must stay with him. I feel that there is some potential, but on the other hand, I would also say that he's a bit of a silly Billy. Maybe you need someone who's actually a little more sensitive and a little more appropriate and affectionate. Okay. Lee Queen Columbus, she's a singer and wants to know the very day when she's going to get famous. Well, I won't be able to give you the very day or the very precise date. What I will do is I'll have a look at your singing career, and I'll see whether there's some opportunities for progression, growth, development, and whether that wonderful F thing will happen to you. Of course I'm talking about fame right now. Here we go. Okay. Actually brilliant. Totally brilliant. I don't think it's too far down the line. The best signs I've got for you are actually in your mid-term future parts of the reading, when essentially the signs there are very financial, but also they're very authoritative. You won't just be doing the singing, you'll be teaching people, you'll be instructing other people how to be able to bring greater joy to the world. And I think that's absolutely wonderful, because very few people actually have that position in society whereby they can say that, you know, they're bringing good things forward into the future, into other people's lives, and trying to do something good culturally speaking for the rest of the world. So that's really rather important. It's mid-term future. Taking into account we're looking at the rest of your life, it's only a few more years down the line, so long as you're clever and you use new media in a very constructive manner, okay? Great signs of you being respected for, I suppose it would be your skill. I mean, virtue applied to music would essentially be the virtue of your power, of your skill, and of your intellectual ability, because stave signs can be associated with the element of Mercury. I'm sure I've spoken about that before, and that is often about skill and the application of skill in a very practical, pragmatic way, okay? Now, as far as what the rest of your career is going to be like, the Lust card speaks of desire, and I would say that that's talking about your drive to become successful, and I would keep that with you. Tismarani, I think I pronounced that correctly or not, is interested in a career reading, because this is an individual who's lacked a bit of confidence as far as applying for work and all the rest of that kind of jazz. So let's just have a quick look and see what kind of signs we can get, thoughts, feelings, moods, energies, all the rest of that jazz coming through to you down the Mystic Tarot. Well, let's have a quick look, one step at a time. Here we go. Right. Okay, the only thing which is holding you back is yourself. Alright, we've got signs relating to strong willpower and something really rather good and positive, amongst signs of negativity. So essentially sometimes you find yourself in a positive situation whereby you could actually get the job of your dreams, or you could get the opportunities that you're after. But building yourself up to the level whereby you feel good and positive about the longer term future could actually be really rather hard. I mean, the energies associated with this particular reading is to grasp opportunities as they come. Some people say that the phrase seize the day means go out and have a lot of fun. Well, actually that's not correct. That comes from a time in Britain's economic history in which there was a lot of business opportunities around, and the phrase seize the day meant find the business opportunities and basically stick to them and work hard at them. And that's the kind of mentality that you need, because there are going to be some opportunities coming your way, and I would basically work hard to try and make sure that they happen and to make sure that you can do them. You're actually much more competent than you think you are, and I think that's something you've got to remember. Okay? Alright, well that's all the readings we're going to do for today. Okay, there's still literally 2 more to go on the backlog. I think it's just 2 more. And if you've got any more requests which you want to provide me with, quite simply, do not send it through by video response. Do not send it through in the comment section. Do send it through by private message on this YouTube channel, NICKDUTCHTAROT. And then I'll be more than happy to add you to the rota. Well, actually that will automatically add you to the rota anyway, so I won't need to do any work apart from open the emails one by one as they come through. It makes life very easy for me. Don't give me War and Peace. Please don't give me War and Peace. I don't want to have paragraphs upon paragraphs upon paragraphs. Just a bit of basic background, a question, and of course your first name and your date of birth is basically all I really require. And that means I can get through them quickly and speedily. Now when I'm doing these videos, it can sometimes take like the whole day for me to get the work done, including the shooting, the converting, the editing, the rendering, the uploading, and all the rest of that. It really can take a lot of time sometimes, you know, technologicals basically permitting. So I do want to try and cut my time down and still provide you with an absolutely fantastic tarot show on a weekly basis. Of course, Christmas and New Year is coming, so if you've got some requests for the year of 2011, or you want to know what's going to happen after the turning of the year, which is of course 21st of December, when we move from Midwinter's Night on to the next solar cycle, then do let me know again via private message, and I'll be more than happy to have a quick look and see whether I can go into it. Also, if there's anything else you just want me to talk about for a few minutes between the readings during the show, then again, do let me know. And I'll contemplate it. I won't necessarily do it, but I will contemplate discussing those things, okay? So, don't forget to subscribe, because subscribing is really, really, really good for you. It's very, very good karma. Well, actually, no, I can't back that one up, but subscribe anyway. You're free to comment and rate and all the rest of that cool stuff. And I will speak to you again very, very soon.